Hey guys, Tennessee Yankee. Coming at you real quick with a fix that I just did on my Can-Am to the front grease Zerk on the Swaybar link. You might have seen a video in my playlist for the XRC quite a while back where I had taken the Swaybar link off. I had put in the description, I ended up putting it back on. I wasn't a fan of how it felt in the corners on the pavement. It was a little too loose, but I would say it's around 6 months, a year ago, I was greasing in there on the front sway bar, and the problem is my grease gun nozzle, it would want to lock on too bad, and I would have to wheel it around to let go. And what I didn't realize about the front of those the Zerks on that front sway bar is that they're just pressed into a boot, a rubber boot. So if you're not careful, it's really easy to pull them out. So I had neglected to put grease in there for a while now. I figured all that's going to happen is it's just going to be a little extra noisy, and I didn't have a good enough tip to get in there and take care of that properly. So fast forward to today, I was greasing on my tractor a week ago, and all new grease fittings, they weren't taking grease. I was getting very frustrated. I ended up getting a new grease gun fitting. It's called the Lock N Lube, and it's just wonderful. It just locks right onto your fitting. You can pump the grease in, and then you know, release it to take it off, so you don't have to wiggle around and get locked on and things like that. So since I had that, I said, well, let me go ahead and fix this, put a new fitting in it. So that's what I'm going to do. Put a new press in fitting in there, give it some grease, and I'll show you that Lock N Lube attachment. I'll put a link in the description to that, because it's been amazing, the 50 or so pumps of grease I've used. Fittings that weren't taking grease, now they take it no problem. So stick around. Sorry for that long intro, but I wanted to give you the history on that. Okay guys, this is the spot I'm talking about. This is the front stabilizer bar, and it has this plastic or this rubber boot here, and then it's got a metal kind of a U-bolt that takes two 18mm bolts. So it's real fun to get in here. But the problem is what I never realized when I got this machine is this is a press-in fitting. So my problem is when I was trying to grease that with my older grease gun, my tip would continually get stuck and I couldn't get the thing off. I had to wiggle it like crazy, and I eventually pulled that grease Zerk right out of the boot, and the only way to fix that, I couldn't even get a new one screwed in there because it's so tight in there. So I just took that boot off, put a new Zerk in there, and the only solution really is to make sure that you're using a lock-on grease gun fitting. And this is my favorite kind. I recently just got this, which is the reason I'm actually fixing that boot. That boot's been missing a grease fitting for a long time, and I'm like, whatever, if the sway bar link wears out, whatever. But finally, I have this Lock N Lube lock-on fitting now, and the thing works amazing. And I just did the other boot too that I hadn't greased in a while, the one that hadn't had the Zerk come out of it, and it worked flawlessly on there. So just put the Zerk back together. I'm going to go ahead and shoot some grease in it with the Lock N Lube once I put those 18mm bolts back in, and we'll show you how that goes. Alright guys, so I got it back in. I put the bolts back in. One here, one in the back. Those are tight. A pain to get to. If you're better off just go ahead and taking the wheel off. Give yourself a little bit more opportunity for the front A-arms to drop down. And then let's go ahead and try that Lock N Lube on there. Should work good for us. Finally get some grease in there after a while. So let me show you again how this works. You just basically press the trigger, and that allows those jaws to open up and just sit on the fitting. And even here, it's really tight because what you got is this silly plastic cover here. I think I'm locked onto it though. No, I'm not. Okay, hopefully that is. You see what I mean? No, I don't know if you can tell here, but no, that's stupid. I don't know if this is like the starter right here, or what this metal frame is right here, but it is so close to the Zerk that even with the lock on, it's hard to get on there. And I'm all the way in, and there's a little space in this metal bracket here that would allow the Zerk to be this much further forward, but I can't because that's already the rubber boots already land flat on the frame, and that's what dictates the location inside the U-bracket. So the only other thing I can do is turn that Zerk around to the back side and try to come in from here. I might have more clearance. So even this quick educational video to help you guys out, we're learning together because it's still not working right. I'll have to get some pliers on there to turn it. Okay, I'm just using this 10mm wrench to turn this the other direction. All right. Hopefully this will be the way that we can come in here now through here. Otherwise, we keep interfering with this component here, coil or starter or whatever that is back there. Maybe you guys know and you can tell me. Okay, let's see if we can get it to take grease and get in there now. So now it appears I'm well locked on. This is going to be really hard with the tire on there in the future. I'll probably have to do this once I take the tire off. Okay, I'm pumping. I don't have any grease leaking out. I'm starting to see it come out of the boot. So again, once we finally get to it, this is a beautiful thing. Okay, I got good grease coming out of both sides. And then you just press on it, pull it right off. Lock N Lube, game changer. So the reason I actually bought this wasn't for this machine. It was because I got a new tractor now, and I have brand new grease fittings that already weren't taking grease, and it was so frustrating. You know, I thought it was the grease fitting. I'd take it out, and then I'd put grease through, put them back in, and they wouldn't take it. But as soon as I put this Lock N Lube on there, they all took grease just fine. So it's more or less the bad fitting I had on my grease gun. While I'm here, in case you guys were looking this video up for another reason or wondering about what we got here on the front suspension, we got, other than that stabilizer link on each side, we have two Zerks on the bottom, one here and then one back here, and then these ones are a little more hidden on the top of the A-arm. They're underneath here, right at my finger. And then over here this one's easier to see because you can see the grease coming out. So, but yeah, so 5 points on each side for the front.
Hey guys, Tennessee Yankee. Thanks for watching. If you found this content helpful, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on your right. I have other content linked for you on the left side. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Thanks again for watching.